Welcome to Alabama Manufacturing Now, hosted by Alabama Technology Network, a podcast where we cover a wide array of challenges, solutions, and innovations for manufacturers. We're your host, Whitney Barlow, Supplier Development Manager. And I'm Paige Caulfield, Marketing and PR Manager.
Welcome back to Alabama Manufacturing Now. I'm your co-host, Whitney Barlow, here with Paige. We are so excited to have Gregg Bennett with us today.
We have ATN royalty with us today.
Is it the infamous or the famous, or both, depending on the day? Infamous?
I think I've been released by the royal family. I'm kind of like Harry.
Oh, okay.
Well, you know, Harry's trying to get back in. But Gregg worked with ATN. So for how many years? I'm just going to pass it off to you and let you kind of tell us your background with ATN. We are here and we are so excited. Paige and Keith and Joey have been trying to get Gregg's capture all of his knowledge of the history of ATN. Mm-hmm. So today is our day. We're very, very excited that you're here. So tell us a little bit about your history and how you got involved with ATN, when that happened, and just a little bit about you.
I came in December of '86.
I had just been born.
Right. There you go.
To the university. You didn't have to say that.
Edit.
I think the reason I know is my first child, our son, was born about 4 or 5 weeks later. So
spirit animals.
I was at the University of Alabama, and our section, which was the vice president's office, became very involved going around the state, helping small communities primarily, sometimes big ones, but to establish professional economic development efforts.
Okay.
Create IDAs, chambers, that kind of thing. And one of those was Gadsden. Mm-hmm. And we did establish an IDA there, which is still there and doing well. And but they also saw a need for a technology-related training center or something of that nature. So we began to think about that, and the primary architect of the center was Dr. Mac Patera and Mary Jolly, who was the other assistant in the vice president's office. He was here then as vice president of UA. So we went around the country and tried to take a look at what there was. It was very little out there, frankly. The Department of the Navy had done, or was in the midst of doing, a very exciting thing for the times. They had something called RAMP, R-A-M-P, and it was rapid access to manufactured parts. Oh. And what the idea was, if a ship broke down in Indonesia, that you could download the geometry, whatever you needed to make the part over the internet, which was still very new at the time, but do that electronically and manufacture the parts that were needed wherever the ship was broken down.
Oh, wow.
It was incredible. Yeah. You can't even imagine at that time, and we didn't even, only professors used the early internet. I mean, the researchers sometimes, but so they helped us. They helped us design things, and we did create a several $1 million lights out factory of the future. That's what.
Oh, this is so cool.
That was the big name, Lights Out Factory of the Future. So we did. We got one with the help of the university's engineering department and the people from the Navy and a few people from the Bureau of Standards, which became NIST, and created MEP. We built it, and it really could manufacture parts automatically. Wow. We could download the specifications and so forth from a laboratory on one end of the building into the machinery and the controllers at that end of the building, and a part would come out.
Oh, that's so neat.
That is
I mean,
neat.
that's something we all like, yeah, that's easy. But like in 86, that was.
In '86, it was unheard of, except a very few really forward companies. But so that was kind of where we started. We opened that center in summer of '87.
Okay.
So that was the first ATN Center, and at that time we called them the
Center of Excellence.
Center, Technology Centers of Excellence.
Oh,
And
okay.
we had 4 other ones on the drawing board, and we were beginning to develop them. Muscle Shoals was next, and then Eufaula. Then we have a plan for one in Bruton, and then one in Birmingham.
So that's really where the term technology came from.
That is exactly where the term, and at the
Okay.
time, it was a correct word. Later, as technology came to mean computers,
Yeah.
Right.
it was kind of out of place.
Right.
Because while computers were the backbone of everything we were doing, they were a tool. They weren't the centerpiece of
Correct.
what
Right.
we were offering. But it was good for the times, and we thought each center would have its own field, if you would. Gadsden was going to be machining and metal removal, that kind of thing, and robotics, and Muscle Shoals was environmental.
Interesting.
This is so neat to know where it started in its conception.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this will tell you a little bit about the times. Alex City was going to be the textile, and was the textile.
Oh, I could see that. I could see that. Yeah.
Because
100%.
that was the center, and with Russell there.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of help from all around.
So Mac Patera.
Dr. Patera designed it, really. He and Mary and I and folks from the engineering at UA. But he was the driving force, no question about it. And then we discovered that Mr. Bevel, Congressman Bevel, was keenly interested in that kind of thing. So his chief of staff, Don Smith, and I got together a lot. Don was from Gadsden, so and was maybe vice president at Gadsden State, so we had a connection, and we worked really hard so as not to waste money, because all this stuff was very, very expensive. But at the same time, to create something that was at least national class,
Yeah.
if not world class. And we didn't, the rocky part, we didn't know what we were doing. We knew what we wanted.
Right.
But, the Navy helped a lot, looking at some of the stuff they had done. And we went around to places in the country that were cool. And at that time, there was a great interest in Congress and around the country, because we had gotten very far behind as a country
Yeah.
in this stuff. And it was the future. And Japan was way ahead, and Germany and others, and China was coming online. So Mr. Bevel, he was chairman of the Appropriations Committee in the Congress, and he had a keen sense of knowing what was in. He grew up poor in North Alabama, and he valued the people and knew what it was they needed to get up and get out, kind of thing. And he wanted Alabama to lead. And thank goodness for him. And so he kept securing money as we could, and got the Tennessee Valley Authority in our court, and
That's
the
helpful.
Energy Department. I think Mr. Edwards was chairman or secretary of Energy at the time. So they helped us, get funds to build Muscle Shoals and then Eufaula. Along, and we brought Mr. Bevel down. This is unheard of, really, but I asked him if he would come down and speak to the Alabama legislature. And he said, absolutely, I'd love to, and convince my old colleagues, that this has got to get done. So the Speaker of the House and everybody was kind enough to have a Bevel Day, and they invited him down. So he addressed the state legislature and really hammered home the point that if Alabama was going to have a future, it was going to have to be in advanced manufacturing, and that we needed to get it done.
Yeah.
And that did it.
Wow.
Since that time, the state legislature has been awfully good to ATN and has understood the need both for technology demonstration and which builds confidence in the companies. They see that this can be done, and that they're not scared of robots and all that. And they were at first, and it was an interesting time because I think there were these leaders that understood the need for us to catch up as a country. Yeah. And then most folks were kind of frightened of it. So anyway, that's how it.
Dr. Patera, so for my background, that's like a full circle moment for me. I worked with the universities for about 10 or 11 years under one of their grassroots, the partnership, higher education partnership. And he was chancellor by the time, I think he might have moved into the chancellor role when I was there. But then I got married and moved to Mississippi, and he retired and moved to Mississippi to do economic development there. And so his vision, and like if you go back and trace all the things he has his hand in, that people really don't even know of the groundwork he laid. And then on the ramp with the Navy, so we're doing a lot of work with the maritime. And with the boats and the submarines, the Build the Giants in Alabama, ATN, the community college, we're real involved in that. And so RAMP is one of the acronyms. Do you remember when they get into their alphabet soup? RAMP is one of the words that they use in the Navy and the training. So it's really interesting to hear you talk about how it started and to see the full circle moment of us coming back around to it. So that's really cool.
So how did we, with Alabama Technology Network, as we started from the technology centers of excellence is kind of what we started in. How did we evolve into Alabama Technology Network, and we started to gain, I guess, more locations around the state? How did that come about?
Dr. Patera was and is one of the most capable, he is the most capable person I've met in my life. I admire him. I admire Jimmy Carter very much and love him, but I would say Mac and Miss Jolly are right there. He's an amazing person who can not only visualize what ought to be, but make it happen.
Okay.
And our notion at that time was demonstration. We wanted the rural communities in Alabama, but also Huntsville and Birmingham and Mobile too. But we wanted people to see that this stuff is real and it's not frightening and you can do it.
Right.
That was that kind of thing. And that was Mac's idea. And also we had good level, high-level engineering training in this state. Alabama, Auburn, UAH, South Alabama, UAB. We had a lot of good engineering. And then we had a lot of good community colleges or technical schools. At that time, we just called them junior colleges and technical schools. And, and they were providing good training, good assistance, and that kind of thing at the levels they were I shouldn't end my sentence with a preposition there, but anyway, there was a big gap in the middle. And I think Mac realized that more than anyone. There needed to be this level of applied engineering that was hands-on in the factories that were needing to be modernized. So I think at the time, just like the name technology, at the time that was the right demonstration and assistance on the floor was what was needed. As things grew, companies began to ask for training, more training than research. And so we began to shift to that. Plus, the time when controllers and robots and laser work and automatic guided vehicles and automatic pick and place machinery, all of that stuff became prevalent. It was all over the state. So there wasn't a need so much, and the companies started doing some training along with the machinery that they sold. We wanted to still hold the hands of the companies, make them feel better, make sure that they were being treated fairly by the vendors and that kind of thing. So I think it was a natural evolution. I really do. When the centers started, we had this idea that one would be textile, one would be machinery, one would environmental, whatever. And they, to an extent, stayed that way. But that's not what the companies were demanding of us. And so we began to shift. Most of the safety and environmental folks were still in Muscle Shoals or in Huntsville. Machinery was heavy around Gadsden and Birmingham, so that's where that was. And, it goes, so it goes. But we started out, that training was training for hard technology. And then we realized you couldn't really have hard technology if people weren't trained not only in the use of that technology, but just how to think, think like manufacturers and get the job done. So, and so that it's this whole area of stuff, starting with quality control systems. That is essential in modern manufacturing, and it can't be old-fashioned. It's got to be the new computer-driven type of quality systems. And so we began to add these what we called soft technologies, and then lean came along, and then Jeff Graham in Alex City discovered that the companies desperately needed training in how to develop effective workforces at the operator level, at the supervisory level, at the management and administrative levels. All of those. That's how LMD leadership.
It is.
So fascinating.
I'm just like, so I'm not even barely even saying because I'm just so intrigued of how it started and how it's evolved. And it's evolved so organically that it's continued to have a very strong foundation.
That's a great word. It did evolve organically, and in response, and this is something I'm really proud of, it evolved in response to what our companies needed and were asking us for.
Oh, speaking of being proud of, I have to hear. So I've heard through the grapevine about how ATN handled COVID. So you've got to tell me, because, we're an in-person training group.
Absolutely.
And that's one of our proud things that we sell, is that we come to you and we train in person. And so we all know 2020, that was not something that was okay for a while. I mean, it got there, but it wasn't. So so tell me how you felt like ATN did with COVID.
And I told you guys in pre-production that I think it was truly my proudest moment. I love ATN. It is in my heart. I feel like it's my baby.
Yes.
Dr. Jolly and Dr. Pateros kind of let me develop it and supported it, and it always will be. And so, like you love your baby, and like you want to see the best.
It wasn't the only thing, a kid of yours that was born in '86.
That's right.
That's right. Especially when the lockdown came, we had foreseen a few weeks that this was coming, and our safety folks they hit the ground running. They began to prepare manuals, protocols for companies, simple protocols, very complicated protocols, depending on the need, and manuals, pamphlets, training programs. Most of the training programs could be done online. And so if you could find a place where the employees could be socially distanced and all that, and we had procedures, they had designed procedures for that to help the companies. And so they jumped in there and started doing that. And then I think it triggered almost everyone in ATN. I remember just being so proud of all of us. They were staying at home, and they were using the day to create new courseware. They
We
were
had
taking
to adapt. Yeah.
They were taking that stuff we used to teach with and turning it into online. We didn't know how to do that. We knew the stuff,
Right.
but online was different, and you have to say things a little different and do things a little different,
Sure.
Yes, yes.
differently. But almost everybody jumped in, and ATN kept going. And we designed safety systems so that when we went into a plant, we could sanitize the machinery. We could provide sanitized stuff for the people to wear, and so we went right on.
Yeah.
And there have been some moments early on. I remember we had engineers working hard in Gadsden, and again, I think the Navy program was designing this inert missile for helicopters. And the helicopters could fire this missile, but there was no explosive. The idea was that the missile would be going at a high rate of speed, it would be spinning, and it would release tungsten darts. That's my name. And those darts would penetrate the machinery of the other helicopter and crash it, the enemy helicopter, which was great, and there was no explosion. So we got chosen because some connection to make a couple of parts of that missile.
Cool.
And we made the O-rings, and we made the fin. It would, when the nose cone would release, the Texan, the fin that we made would cause the device to spin
Okay.
very fast. And I remember going out, and we got to see the testing of it out in Arizona with the generals and, the admirals and the.
That's got to be so cool.
It was cool, and it worked perfectly. And we had ideas that we would then take those parts and find Alabama companies to make them for the Navy. They ended up not using the system, but still, it was such a proud moment to know we had done that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a really cool.
Yeah.
There was some really cool stuff early on. We designed a cart, a grocery cart, way back then in the late '80s. That as the shopper went through the store, you'd put your items in the cart, and it would go ahead and ring them up.
Oh.
We need that now.
And if you took them out of the cart, it would unring it for you.
Oh my gosh! Why, if that was designed in the '80s, why do we not have that yet?
Yeah.
It was cool, and it had systems on the wheels that wouldn't allow you to go too fast and bump into somebody, and systems like we had gotten this off of an automated guided vehicle system we had designed. The cart would not bump into other carts. It would not bump into children. It would not bump into. It was cool. I was
So neat.
really
Life.
really proud of that. We designed a system for, and this was technology. It was electronics. There was a company in the state. I'm not going to name any company's names, but they were into chicken business, chicken raising business, and which is wonderful. It was a huge industry for the state and still is.
Still is.
And they made the curtains that rise up and cool the house down, let the ammonia out. They made conveyor systems to take feed and water through
For the chicken house.
For the chicken house.
Okay.
And we designed an automated system for that. It would actually open the curtains automatically.
Man.
If the ammonia got too high, it was too hot, it would open and cool it down. It took the feed and water throughout the at appropriate times and in appropriate amounts. They still manufacture those systems. They're newer, they're better.
That is so cool.
It was a tremendous moment. I think for me, as I thought about it. Now, a lot of country people live way out in the country and have chicken houses, and if
I have
something,
chickens.
good.
I
Well,
have quite a few.
you would love this.
I'm thinking about this. We have a current person, Nathan Berquist. Do you know?
Oh, absolutely.
So Nathan has chickens as well. I don't know if you know this, Greg.
I can't imagine Nathan.
And he has a system that he has set up on his iPad. So when he's traveling, he can water all the chickens, and then it's got this heater in it where it keeps the water from freezing because he lives above the freeze line in Alabama. And when you're talking about this, I'm like, was Nathan part of that, or was that before Nathan? So
Nathan did work a lot for this company.
Okay, so he might have, but I love the chicken story. I wish I had all this for my chickens. It's not a lot of fun to haul feed out to the chicken pen.
It was a cool thing, and to me, that goes to the diversity that ATN embraced. We were working at Airbus, and in the Teledyne and the shipyards in Mobile and these other fancy places in Huntsville. But at the same time, we were on chicken farms.
Yeah.
Again, and I don't want to overplay this part, but it just makes me proud. And I know, and there's 1,000 stories like that.
It is.
Yeah.
And everyone throughout the state, every ATNer can tell those stories. Every one of them can. And it's just, it makes you proud.
Yeah.
I think we really did help our state grow and prosper and be better than it was, and I think ATN is still doing that.
Yeah, I love how it's come from the conception of that they saw a need and started to fill it.
Yeah.
Which is what we consistently on this podcast and when we're talking to people say is our specialty as we come in, and now of course we say customize. But that's what we do is we see your need and we make it work. We fit it in. So whether we're building a fin for a missile or a conveyor belt for chicken feed and helping you figure out how those things are developed, we're there to help you make it work.
And it's just interesting that we've been doing it since 1987. right?
When you were a year old.
When I was a year old.
I was on this earth.
We were out there doing it, and you were taking your bottle.
Yes, I was taking my bottle and getting burped and all that.
Gosh, it just reminded me how old I am.
Oh, no. This is so great. Again, see, this is my proudest and most favorite moment of ATN to moment. So, yes.
And we talk about your proud moments, and obviously through that there were a lot of lessons that were learned throughout the years. Obviously we talk about some of the things that worked. Obviously there are things in there that didn't work or that maybe surprised you. Can you speak a little bit on that?
I think we spent probably too much money early on.
That always seems to be the case.
On equipment, but it was needed, and that. But if you look at ATN's history, and you asked me about this, and I didn't answer it, but we started as those 5 independent, freestanding centers that just did what they wanted to do.
I love it.
That's so.
Then a system was created, and it joined those, and I think we called it ATN when it first started like that. And we got a board and a president, and we began to centralize the operations of the systems. And mainly what we were doing is trying to coordinate better. We had resources then at all 5 of the centers that could be used throughout the state, and we weren't coordinated at all. And it was hurting us, and it was hurting the companies. Yeah. So ATN then began to grow. The board was assisted by EDPA, who became sort of the umbrella organization, I guess. And
for ATN?
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I did not.
And we had a lot of assistance from the power company then, and it began to grow. We added a couple of sites or satellite centers, if you will. And we began to share resources in the various fields so that the safety people were not just working in the northwest corner of the state.
You only got safety in northwest corner of the state. Everybody else is unsafe. You're in the northwest corner, you're safe, right?
We were trying to share safety, and there's machining all over the state. So Gadsden got really big. We had 35 employees, I think.
Wow.
And we were sending them. We didn't spend a heck of a lot of time in Mobile or Montgomery. We were mainly in North Alabama, but then we realized we had to go to Mobile.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And each center then grew and was able to do much, much more than it was able to do prior to the consolidation. And then, and that was a scary step, but it was a wonderful step. It made us better. And then the next thing, I think...
okay, I have to pause you real quick before you get into the next thing. So how was the dynamic of the people when they had to go from islands to country?
Not happy.
Okay. I just had to know. I didn't know if that was still the same.
It did not take long.
Okay.
The greatest thing about ATN, and this is true of anything that's great, it's the people.
Yes.
And we've had some awards like anyone. But
we got them removed.
We have had since the beginning wonderful people, people of integrity, people that wanted to work hard, people that cared about what we were supposed to be doing.
And that's important.
It is,
the people
it's
that
amazing.
care.
I would look across the room sometimes at our annual company get together and all that, and just think this is amazing.
Yeah,
this
I
is
agree.
an amazing bunch of really good people who really want to do this. And
Exactly.
so, you get over those humps. The next step was MEP.
Okay.
And we helped. I had worked for Senator Hollins, and this was coming out of the Navy thing, getting around, in South Carolina, and then of course Congressman Bevel was all interested, and Senator Shelby had become interested. So we worked with the Bush 1 administration, and they were had some folks that really saw the need, and we were the idea was to create a national system that looked something like the system Alabama had created. And I was really proud.
That is huge. That is so great. That makes me so proud.
Ohio had begun a system, had some good start at Cuyahoga College, and there was California had started. And there were pockets here and there, but this would unify all of us and bring us the resources wherever they were in the country to bear on problems in Brewton, Alabama. So that was the next step, and we were scared. And again, people didn't like it, and we're going to follow what the federal government says. No, but very shortly, in a couple of years, we realized we were 100% better than we were before MEP, and it brought us political clout, both with our legislative and our leaders in Alabama, but also in Washington. And that helped, and everybody got happy with it and decided this is great. They're teaching us a lot. We're with the system. And then the next step was when we came under the community college system. And again, this fear of the unknown.
Yeah. Change. Nobody likes it.
Change. And again, we got better.
Yeah.
We got stronger. Our relationships at the colleges, even at the universities where we had centers, Auburn and UAH, and it was good. Every step we've taken, again, it's almost organic. It kind of follows and we had moved from applied technology or technology engineering application to training. So it was a natural move to come under the 2-year system.
And also we were filling that need.
The need that was out there. And then I think the next move that was big was when Jimmy Baker became chancellor of the system. Yes. Jimmy is another person like Dr. Patera. He has a keen understanding of what is needed by folks at coming out of the small towns and the rural areas of Alabama. And he knows where they're from. And he knows that for them to have a successful life and all that, they've got to have a road, a pathway to take. He is probably the most able person I know at both management of a large organization and at the political and external affairs of that organization. He's remarkable. So that, and when that board, our board was established, a new board for the college system and for ATN, we really took off. By that time, we'd already created 15, 17 different sites and with satellites and whatnot. We were a true unified system. Now we had leadership that completely understood that.
Yeah.
And
so pieces were just starting to fit.
The pieces were, and we were still getting support from MEP. We offered a lot to MEP, and now there's no question that that Alabama had one of the top 2 or 3, 4 centers in the United States. Year after year, no question about it. And that cemented our standing with Senator Shelby, for example, and other folks and people in our own state legislature that kept us funded and kept us, and if it hadn't been for that, if we hadn't grown and got better and moved toward the needs, if we weren't helping the companies, I promise you, the political leadership would not have continued to support it.
Yes, correct.
And they have been wonderful to us. I mean, sounds like a silly word in this conversation, but that's the best word I know.
Yeah, and still are still so
And still are.
supportive.
Yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely amazing the support, both federal and state. And I agree with you on MEP. It is encouraging for us to be able to know we can pick up the phone or email and connect to someone in another state to discuss a problem that our company is having and have that relationship. I mean, you can have technology, whether it's creating a part in another room or the computer or your phone, because that's pretty much a computer now, all day long. But that personal relationship that you build with people and be able to connect and that they care, because we're ATN. When we travel and talk about the MEP network, that's how, especially when we were doing the supply chain stuff, that was how I explained it. I was like, it's people like us in other states that care as much about their manufacturers as we do.
They're doing the same thing with the same integrity. And again, you know, we were talking about proud moments, but we got called to do projects in Oklahoma, South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, North Carolina, and how about this? California, and New Jersey. Now, that's great. It's great for Alabama. It's great for our image across the country, and we have then in turn summoned folks from different states to come help companies down here. That's a really cool.
It is cool.
I remember going to Oklahoma that first time, and these companies were a part of the Native American reservation there. I forget the name of that tribe. I'm sorry, but anyway, they were great folks, and they had good companies, but they wanted to know what lean was. So we took lean to them, which was just a terrific project for our engineers to get to go, and they learned a lot from the people out there at the same time. And this went on about 3 years. It was a long process of getting those companies to have lean, you know, really professional, first-class lean program. And like everybody else, they thought lean meant, you know, we're going to fire everybody. And,
No, I ain't lean in my house. But yes.
What it basically means, you're going to get to keep your job.
But you can do a lot more streamlined. You know, we went to California, ATN did, a couple months ago, and did LMD for Austell.
Great.
Which was great because now I'm not in that role anymore, but I have been helping with Austell the past year and doing LMD. And that team that's been down there working with them, they were so impressed. They didn't want to, like, hey, no, they're like, no, we want y'all to pick up and go over there and do it.
Now, you know, an LMD teacher once is an LMD teacher for life.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. Oh, well, you can ask Paige. They can't seem to. Joey's like, Whitney, I'm like, I'll come teach that. I now teach we've evolved. We've got a business development team now. And
which we needed.
Yes, I agree. Yes. Putting that on the engineers to teach in market was a difficult task for them. And develop their curriculum. But Sarah Carter is our manager of it, and she developed a thing called Measures for Success. And it's like a taste of each team. And it's the shorter classes or a class that you can make short.
Right.
And then there's like an overview of ATN, and they have one person from each team has volunteered to be the person to do that. And so she's putting that in chambers or manufacturing associations or community colleges or economic development groups where they have their existing industry committees. And it's a way for them to kind of accompany to companies to experience ATN for an hour and a half to say, we need, like, maybe not necessarily that, but they get the training manual and they kind of see what we are about. Those have been quite successful, but I'm the one that teaches LMD. I'm like, I'll do that for y'all. I know y'all are busy. I'll just go.
If you get and you need a support person,
yes,
that would be fabulous.
Paige.
You can't, you know.
Bennett, I'm going to tell you right now, Whitney is wonderful to watch.
I know she is.
Train. She's really, really good at what she does.
She and I would be a fantastic
Yes, it
team.
would be.
I wanted that chance.
wonderful.
I know, I did too.
Yeah.
And we were in D.C. Well, Joey and I have been in D.C. a couple of times, and then Keith and I went to D.C. and both times they were like, "Oh, I'd love to see you two up here together."
Yeah.
I would have just been like, so it's like you have no idea. That's why I'm barely saying anything. I'm just like, why? Why couldn't we have worked together? This would have been amazing. And that I have now learned that ATN is sandwiched between Dr. Patera and Jimmy Baker has just made my heart complete, because both of those men are just, if you know anything about those men personally, professionally, if you've been in Alabama politics for the last 2 decades, those two men have made such amazing strides for this state. And I should have known. I should have known that something like this had been birthed with, and it's just amazing to me. It's just been, this might be my favorite podcast ever. We're going to have him back.
Yeah, we will. But before we wrap up, one last question. As we look ahead to a new year, where do you see the biggest opportunity for ATN moving forward with Alabama manufacturers?
There's so many areas. One is being sure that ATN keeps reminding everyone this is about the small communities and the people of the state of Alabama, and ensuring that they have opportunities for good jobs and growth. And I think we got to hold on. It's just like with this new program. You have to realize there are new companies coming on all the time. Yeah. There are people that could be creating companies if we could give a chance, all that. But I think the thing that troubles me, I lose sleep over, is the cybersecurity.
Yes.
I think that's going to get huge.
Yes.
It is huge, but and that is technology per se. But we have got to do something as a nation about training folks at home, particularly the senior folks that are so vulnerable to scams and electronic shenanigans. And but there are lots of companies that are too, lots of them.
Yes.
They're worried about getting their product out and getting the payroll. And it's just like the rest of us at home, you don't think about safety stuff until
it's too late.
Too late.
Yes.
So I would like to see ATN get into that. And again, that's a perfect place in the community college system to take that on. I think we have to spend some time, and we quit this. We need to spend more time analyzing and just, projecting what's out there in the future.
Yes.
And so we can stay ahead of the game.
That's a good point.
That's a very good point.
We need to help. I don't mean this in a haughty way, but we need to lead the companies in Alabama. Some of them will always be the leaders and so forth. But as new stuff comes along, we are positioned better than anyone else to know what's going to come down the pike and to get ourselves ready to respond to that and to respond early, because we're constantly in competition with not only the foreign manufacturing, but with states within the United States that, and we have to keep up. We have to keep up, and is true for the tiny little, crossroads in Alabama, on to Birmingham and Huntsville and Mobile and so forth. That's
it's a good outlook.
Hang on to what we are and what are important I keep saying we. I forget I'm
You're
retired.
still a part of us,
No.
Bennett. You're still
Hey,
here.
There's not a week goes by that we, if we had like a true building, we would have named it the Bennett Building.
Oh,
Oh, I'm sure.
No,
yeah.
please don't.
Yes. But
Name
that
it
is
Portera, Bevel, or Dr. Good helped us a lot from Auburn. I want to give him a shout out.
Gosh, I just feel like I'm going down
you.
memory lane of all some of my favorites.
He was a board member, and we built Auburn did it, that they built a wonderful center at Auburn ATAC, Henry Burge and his folks, and it was so important. And then we had a great, thanks to Bernie and UAH also, and they led our lean program. That all came out of there, and the shipbuilding, of course, Mobile Bruton Center, and so the great successes literally are spread throughout the state.
Yeah.
And
Yes. I know the only one you haven't named yet is Joe Bonner. If you threw him into the mix, we're at the
Twilight Zone.
I'm gonna have to leave. I had my moment now. He's one of my other favorites in the state of seeing leadership and stuff. So
Joe always supported us, and when he was in Congress, and when he was a AA, we always got
he's
his vote and his championship. So yes, Joe's
now
enough.
he's president of South University of South Alabama, which I think is just that should be your next career. You need to get you president of university. That's what we need to figure out.
Well, you know, he was interim president of what community?
Gadsden
State.
State. He
Yeah.
was for a little while.
That's why we didn't know each other.
Yeah, because you were.
I had to move to
Yes,
that.
that's exactly right.
It was a little bit busy in that job.
He had
Yes.
his hands full, but it was phenomenal.
They tend to go, oh, it's not a big deal, and then you walk in, you're like, oh, that's just what you have to do in the next hour. And you're like, oh, okay. But you're right about the small communities. One thing we've learned is a lot of the most important stuff in Alabama for defense and for different like biotech. You'll be in a town that maybe not even have a red light.
That's exactly.
And it's like you see that unmarked building, they make da-da-da, and you're just like, what? And you go in there, and it's like walking into another world with the high tech. And so I think that I agree with you. We don't sell our community short. That was one thing.
We don't sell them enough.
No,
You
and
know,
we don't.
We don't.
We worked, after higher ed, my background was economic development. And that was when I came on here. That was one thing I was like, we have got to make sure economic developers understand what we do because they are one of our key lifelines to these small communities.
We were completely married to the IDA in Gadsden.
Yes.
We worked. I've been on numerous trips with ADO, not ADO anymore, Department of Commerce,
still ADO.
and Gadsden to recruit companies. And I think that is an important function for us because we can offer something a little different and pretty cool to the companies.
We're a great, that's what we talk about that a lot on the podcast of how many different components the state of Alabama has taken the time to develop to fill all the gaps in workforce. And we're really starting to see that probably in the past year, I'd say, more in the last, about them all starting to figure out their lanes, and these crossing areas are more friendly. And so you're starting to be able to tell a company, not just one that we're recruiting in, but also one that's here, here's all the places that you can get, and you can pretty much from A to Z cover any part of your workforce.
Whitney, that's very well said.
And I think that there's not very many states that have this. There's a lot of states that have come here and tried to copy it.
Yes.
But we have had it in works for so long. We just sat on our own. We were kind of like the centers of excellence. We sat on islands and we didn't really talk to each other. And whether it's the politics or that we're really trying to evolve into different sectors in Alabama, I don't really know what made it, the catalyst of it to start, but I have seen it in the past year really start to, which is great for our companies.
My observation and I think you said it beautifully, but Georgia has a system, almost every state has a system now. The big difference, we're real people. And we're on the floor with the manufacturers. We know how to get dirty. We know how to, oil a machine if necessary. And I think, that's what I've observed. We're not bureaucratic. We're, again, Paige, it goes back to the people thing.
Yeah.
It's having been able and lucky enough to be able to hire and keep really good folks. And the folks that are not up to ATN standards, I've been amazed at how quickly they separate themselves.
Amen, brother.
Fizzle
Amen.
out. Yeah.
We've had, that's because most of our people are 15 years and
Yeah. Well, we're from industry and we're for industry.
Yes.
That's
Well
where our
said.
people.
Yeah.
That's where our people come from, and that's where we excel.
yes,
You're a marketer for sure.
she is. She is 100%.
The way to say that.
She's also a keep Whitney in line on a daily basis.
Yes. Well, Bennett, it is so wonderful to have you with us today. We are so proud for you to come all this way and join us and spend some time with us. And we learned so much
Yes.
this past hour. It feels like maybe more, but we just can't thank you enough. And you will always be a part of ATN.
Always.
Thank you. It was
Always.
my great pleasure. I love you all. I love this system and everybody in it, and I will do whatever I can do to help you.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
It shows for sure.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you for staying with us, and we'll see you next time.